I'm back. Well, my God, what have we got this time? Well, this is part two of a three-part series involving the Bogner amplifiers. This one's a Bogner Brixton. We've done some work on this, as you might have seen on the previous video. This one now shows you 240 volts and a half amp main fuse on the back. That's all been done, and it's all been worked on inside. Now, one of the things we're going to do with this amp, before we, well actually, we'll be doing it after we've done this case. We'll be taking this end tube out and putting in a different tube on this particular amp. Remember, I have two of these. And then when we've done the recovering of this, we'll fit all this back in, and then we'll do a comparison between the two amps, which should be quite interesting in its own little way. I'm sure you'll get to like it. Yeah, then maybe you'll be looking for one of these amps yourself. You can pick them up for just $500. Bit of a bargain, huh? Okay, well, I've now moved the amp out of the way. Like the new colour. Yeah, nice pukey yellow. Yeah, but don't worry about that. Yeah, so we've got this amp, this case, and you have in the back here the sort of netting that fits across the back. We need that out of the way really for now. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, so taking a nice look at this cab. It's a nice small cab. Looks nice and easy to work on, except for around these holes here. That's going to be a bit of a job getting the Tolex to fit properly. I'm sure it will be. Having said that, other than those two areas, I think the rest of it, there's a bit up the top as well. The rest of it's going to be reasonably easy to handle. They've got a couple of bits of vinyl stuck in the back there, but nothing really dynamic, and they're just generic sort of legs. And to be honest, I don't like the finish of this. It's got them yin yang things in the covering, but it doesn't do it for me, and it probably wouldn't do it for you. If you want to have something a little bit different, or your amp's been knocked up and kicked around a lot, well, then this is probably the video for you. I did do one earlier on a Marshall amp, and that was done in red vinyl. This one's going to be it's going to be in purple. Let's show you a bit of the purple before we continue. Yeah, and I've actually got, I think it's about 2 meters wide, let's say, maybe not. Actually, it's 2 meters long, and I forget the width, but it's easily wide enough to do this amp. That's the important bit. I have more of this than I actually need, which is a good thing. And maybe you can see the sort of coloring there. Well, maybe you can't. I don't know. Point is, it's a nice purpley colour. It's sort of reminiscent of some of the Marshalls, but throw that away. It's not that reminiscent. So with this this colour of this big carbuncle on the front, it should match up very well. Nice black handle, that'll still work, and the rest of it's pretty standard. So where do we go from here? The thing is, when you're doing this sort of stuff, if you've never done one of these before, I mean, it all looks very difficult, and it might turn out to be very difficult, because when you take a look at this particular amp, they sort of have nothing on the corners, and it sort of bends down here and then sort of runs down. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, it bends down there, runs down here and goes that way. So you've got a sort of 3 or 4 way connectivity of the material. Not too easy to do, but I'm sure I'll do it. I've been here before. So there it is. There's the material on the floor. First job is we've got to get this old stuff off, and there's only one way you can do that really, no matter what anybody says, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But remember, if we think about this, have to give it a little bit of thought. So we want to remove this old Tolex. You know, if yours is tatty, well, it's still tatty, but you can use it as a template for the new Tolex, and you can leave a bit of extra space and you can get it on here pretty easily. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the handle off, take the feet off, take this carbuncle off the front, and then gradually remove this, actually by using a heat gun. Okay, well let's carry on as we mean to continue, or continue as we mean to carry on, whichever way round you would prefer. But whichever way round, we've got to undo these 4 screws here, and if you look inside, hopefully you'll be able to see in there, those 4 screws actually hold this piece of mesh in place as well, and that's got to come off first. So that's the first job. So I'll go and do that now. Now, none of it's rocket science. As you see, it's all very simple and just screws apart. I mean, how hard does it have to be? Even I can do it, man. There we go. I mean, anybody could do this, couldn't they? Well, I think they could. Well, the thing is, with a video like this, it does sort of give you a good indication of what you need to do. And if you've got one of these exact models, well, you can't really go very far wrong, can you? It's like anything else, I guess. Once you've had a go, well, if you make a pig's ear when you're doing the first one, you've got a bit of a problem. I've only ever covered 2 other amps ever since I looked at doing this sort of stuff. And one of them didn't come out right for a very good reason, which I'll cover later on. But the second red one was, well, it was nigh on perfect. So, you know, who's to say, oh, you wouldn't be able to do it? Well, my guess is you would. And there it is. It's as easy as that. See, well, it just shows you, even somebody like me gets things wrong. If you look careful, that's not actually held in place by the handle. It's held in place by 4 screws that they fitted. There's 2 this side and 2 the other side. So what you've got to do is just get in there and screw that off, because, well, it's got to come off so you can get the original Tolex vinyl off. Here's the last screw coming out now. It's a bit awkward in there. But I wouldn't call it rocket science. It's just a few screws, right? There you have it. Out comes the plate. It's as simple as that. Well, next to these feet, and that's just as easy again. Let's get a proper screwdriver on the job. They just simply screw off like everything else. It's all easy. Well, what's next? Well, you can see what's next. It's this Bogner carbuncle stuck on the front. And we're nearly ready. So, if you look carefully, you can see where in the back it's been sort of hammered on. So you can prise that off from the front, hopefully without damaging the Bogner logo. If you do damage it, well, then you're going to have to stick it on rather than fit it back on with those little lugs. There's 3 lugs. By the look of it, maybe 4. Yeah, maybe 4. Anyway, we'll see. Now, just looking at this, you can see I've already sorted it off, and it can simply prise up like this. Obviously, take your time. But just using a regular household knife or something like that, and it'll just pull off. Centre one's stuck. That broke off, that stayed. But that doesn't really matter because there's still a bit left, and I can use a little tiny bit of glue to get that all back. The rest of them, as you might see there, are all perfect. Okay, well, the next thing we want to do is we've got to take off all these little staples that have been stuck all the way around. And don't forget that little piece at the bottom there that you will need putting back in place when you redo the whole of the Tolex. So we're going to get them off, and you'll notice that they're everywhere. They're up and around the top here. They're all around those two, and then it's a question of pulling this vinyl off, this Tolex off, in one piece. So I'm going to go and prise these out now. Just get a little screwdriver under them, and then get a pair of cutters or pliers, and they just pull out. I won't bother bore you with how easy that is, but it's actually not that hard to do. But what is important is that you maintain the integrity of the Tolex, because it's the template. Okay, well, yours should be now like mine is, with none of those rivets or staples around there. And the same on the bottom bit too. You can see it's all nice and clear, so we can get the heat gun on it and soften all this stuff up and then peel it all back off. It's a very important job that you want to get correct. This one's just about ready to do that. You can see that everything's off it. It all becomes simple. And there's a quick shot of the all the various staples I pulled off. Quite a few, huh? Okay, well, when you're going to be working on this thing, you need a decent heat gun. This one's an 1800 watts, which could actually melt this off the surface, but I wouldn't go doing that. And you're going to need some sort of scraper. Well, I use a regular household knife, but you can get those scrapers that'll scrape the material off once it gets warm. And what you want to try and do as you do this is not to actually damage the material, or rip the material is a better phrase. When you're actually, down here removing this material, very important that you get it right. Then you've got this great template. You notice I put something on the table as well. You don't want to screw your table up, but Messi's will be round. Oh my God, yeah. She'll be round later. I've got to get this done before she gets here. Yeah, so I'm going to remove this now. It's not rocket science. You get it hot, you scrape it off, job done. We'll keep it in one piece, and I'll show you as soon as I've got this off. Now, as you can see, once you start it coming off, it just peels back. But you do need to make sure that wherever you go, don't just try and peel over that edge now, for example, without it being hot, because you either tear it or rip the wood or all sorts of things. So this is how it will come off. We're going to be sanding it down afterwards, I'm afraid, but no big job, just to get the sticky off. And then it's going to be out of here. It's all going to be good. And you go over the whole amp like this, and you're left with this this template. So I'm going to carry on doing it. Just thought I'd like you to see that. Okay, well, be aware that Bogner did put this on and they didn't want it ever to come off. It takes a little bit of getting off. And you can lift little bits of wood. As you can see, different little bits all over the vinyl. Maybe you can see that. A few little pieces, one by my thumb. So you've got to get all this off very carefully. And the only real way is plenty of heat. But don't melt it, will you? It can be very difficult to remove. Easier on Marshall, I dare say. But we're getting there. I've got the sides off. I've got the top off. I've just got the front and bottom to take off, and it's in business, and then it's ready for a bit of sanding, and away you go. Sticking the other stuff on should be easier. Yeah. Now then. Yeah. Have you ever watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Well, they had that guy in there that had got this flesh all over him. And if you used to peel it off, it would look like that. Yeah. It's like a big fat mass of the amp. But more importantly, what you've got there is a template. Now, I can tell you on this particular amp, if you're doing one of these, it comes over there, down there, around there, and there's two side pieces. Now, you'll also note, if you look carefully, you'll see the odd little piece of wood that's been pulled off when you try and get this thing, uncovered, so to speak. Can be very difficult to get the stuff off, especially on one that's well made like this one is. But it'll all clean up with a bit of sandpaper. And if you use 200 or 300 grit, I'd give it 10 minutes and it'll all be done. All rounded off nicely at the edges, and you've got to get the bits up. But the point about this is where these little bits of wood are, you can use a little bit of wood filler and just smooth it off. And nobody will ever know. And inside, it's all a similar case. If you can see that, it's all been removed and it's all good to go. So I'm about to clean all this off, and then we can get down to, well, I'll go and sandpaper it in the meantime, because you don't want to sit here watching me doing that, do you? You know how to sandpaper, don't you? You don't? Oh my God. Where have you been? You're not one of them snowflakes, are you? In any case, I'm going to fill these out and I'm going to sandpaper that, as I said, and I'm going to clear up down here, and then we'll be getting ready to make the template out of the piece on the floor on the two sides, and you wouldn't believe how easy it's going to be. Well, here we are. It's been stripped. No, not like that. It's been stripped of its veneer, of its vinyl, of its Tolex, call it what you will. And there it is. You can see where originally, when they'd done the amp, they sprayed around these holes. You can see that. See, on the sides around the edges. And what all that's about, part of the reason they did that is when you try and fit Tolex around this, you've got to cut it all on the inside and you're left with tiny little gaps. So if there are any tiny little gaps, with it being a black coating that they put on there, black Tolex, well, you just see a little bit of black so you don't notice it. It's very clever. Now, I don't have any purple paint, but if I did have, maybe I'll get some. Yeah, and just touch it up around the edges with purple. Well, black will probably do for what I need. Yeah, might do. We shall see. In any case, the point we're at now is we fill out these little bits where the wood's been peeled off, because it is that tight, just believe me on that. And then we rub this down. I know it looks a bit like a crocodile skin at the minute, but look, I actually burnt the top of that as well. Be careful. Yeah, so we sand this all down. I don't think it'll be too hard to do that. I could use an electric sander. But I don't think I will. I'll probably just get the old bit of sandpaper. It's cheap stuff. That'll do. Glass paper and block sanding set. 3 fine, 3 medium and 3 coarse. £1.99 or $3, and including 20% tax in England. Yeah, and it's probably going to do it. It's all going to be good. So I'm probably going to go and do that now. And next time you see me, I'll have this nice and flat and finished off. And it might well be painted with a bit of black paint. I might use black. Or I might even find some purple. Who knows? I'm like that in here. I've got oodles of nothing, but everything, if you get what I mean. No, I haven't got anything, but if I look down there, I'll find some. Well, where are we now? Well, it's had a quick sand, but you've still got these little gaps. And you can use a lot of things. You can get your wood filler and the rest, but some of that can crack, or it can this, or it can that. If you get this polyfiller stuff, multi-purpose polyfiller, it's only any use for indoors, by the way. This will be indoors. But it says here, shrink and crack resistant filler for interior repairs. Now, you can put it on walls, but I've successfully used this before by filling in the little cracks with a little scraper. That's exactly what I'm going to go and do now. Well, there it is. As you can see, it's been filled in. It's had a bit of black coating over it just to make it nice and smooth, or smoother. And I'll leave that overnight now, and tomorrow we'll cut the template, and then it's a question of fitting it with a heat gun. And it's absolutely that quick. So as I say, I've got to let this dry overnight, be a good idea. And then tomorrow we'll be all ready to just fit the vinyl, do a few mods to the amp, well, a mod to the amp, and then we can put it all back together, and it's going to look absolutely great, right? Yours won't? Of course it will. Well, here we are next day. It's dry, it's reasonably smooth enough to put the finish on. And it's had its little black coat of paint in the areas where I thought it needed it. That's about it for that. So we're going to move on to the template for recovering this, and we don't need that much vinyl or Tolex, but you know, life's life. Let's go down and get the original piece of Tolex and cut around it so we've got a template to work when we put this on. It's not really rocket science, so it's all going to be fun from now on. We've got the hard bit out the way. Well, hopefully. So this is the original piece of Tolex that I pulled off. You can see the two holes on the front and the bit for the top, and you get the idea. Let's turn that the right way around and then you can see what I mean. Two holes and one in the top. And there they are. Simples. It's them again. So I'm going to cut a piece of Tolex about this size and leave a little bit of a gap. But take note of all the particular cuts on this particular vinyl, on the stuff we pulled off. Very important, because the way that this one is actually wrapped matters. So I'm going to get some vinyl now and cut that. Let's do that. So you can see I've got a sort of couple of metre wide. I'm going to go a little bit over this side and a little bit over that side and a little bit over this side too. So I've always got this extra bit to play with, and I think if we trim that off across there and down there, I've still got plenty of vinyl left. Well, that can do the other sides, and I've got enough for indeed another amp at least. Well, as you can see, I did cut off the extra piece down that end, and that's for the two sides. So we'll throw that down there for now. That's out the way. And the piece that I have to cover the original, you can see is a little bit bigger all the way round. Right, well, now we're getting there. So I can sort of put this on upside down and mark a couple of areas out for lining up, which I think it's very important, because if you don't do that, you'll just flop it on any old place and it can be pushed one side or the other and things like that. So I'm just going to go and do that now. What we do is just flip it over. It's all easy, really. Yeah, and we can mark out a couple of areas as necessary. Now, as you'll see when I pull this off, it's only a very, very rough outline, if you can even see it. And this is basically the top. You do want to mark it as the top. So, well, where are we now? Well, we're ready to actually coat that amplifier carcass. That's a good name. Coat the carcass, let it dry, coat this, let it dry, and out with the heat gun. And you'll need a really good knife when you do this, so you can cut into these places as they were originally done. And that's a very important aspect. But also the aspect of the heat gun keeps away all of the bubbles that you'll get if you're not very careful, particularly on other types of glue. While we're on glue, let me just go and get that. It's sort of leaked a little bit, but you can see it there. It's Tubamp Doctor glue, and it says here, I can't read German, Kleber for Tolex und Tweed Bergungsmaterialien. Hopefully that's right. It probably isn't, but don't worry. What it means is glue for Tolex and tweed fabric, and you shake it up. What's important about that stuff is it's sort of water-based, but not. It's hard to describe, but I've used many types of glue before on other amps, a couple of amps, and yeah, you don't get the results. Well, with this stuff, it comes out perfect. And when I say perfect, I mean like me. Perfect. Well, almost. No, it will come out absolutely wonderfully when you use this glue. So I can recommend it. What I can also recommend is that you don't use all the other types of glue that you can go out and buy at your DIY store and that sort of thing. It doesn't work. Don't let anybody kid you that it does. This is the stuff you need. It's the proper glue. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is pull this out, give it a good coat, let it dry, give this a good coat, and then we're going to stick it on there. Now, it won't be easy to do, so bear with me. Okay, well, this is a pretty boring task. I've got the brush, I've got the glue, and you just paint it all over. Yeah, how hard can it be? Oh, by the way, you will need the heat gun just to sort of dry it off a little bit. Which you're going to need to do. Then we'll move on to the other stuff. Okay, well, with the actual carcass down there on the floor drying out, it's had the heat gun on it. It sort of goes semi-transparent. So what we're going to do is cover this with the same glue, and allow that to dry again with the heat gun, and then I'll show you how we fit it to the amp. Well, there you have it. Heat gun now, and we're in business. We don't need this really much anymore, but I'm going to leave it out just for now. Just in case. Now, as we use the heat gun, you're going to find that this is going to go semi-transparent. In the case of the head down there, you know, the carcass, it's pretty much transparent. Okay, well, you might see that it's pretty transparent now or not, but it will go dry to the touch like that. And when it's like that, you're ready to go with the really with the amp. Now you've got to be careful with that, because that's also got glue on it, and you want to get it right before you start and things like that. I measured the top and the holes and the line across the bottom, which is very important. And then you can get things right, and it's no rush job. We can take a time with this and take a look at the old template to see exactly how it was cut, which is very important on this particular head. It's probably important on the one you're doing too. So yeah, I'm going to put the head back on here now, and let's take a look at fitting the vinyl or the Tolex. Now you'll notice I've pulled the paper off because it does stick to the paper if you're not very careful. This is the way to do things. You can see it's pretty much tacky or dry, so we'll line it up. I'm not going to talk to you as I do it. You can just watch and watch me make the mistakes or not. Yeah, I get things wrong too. Cutting knife. We have here a section for the bottom. So what I really want to do is just lay loose and get those two lines there. Get this central. Let's pull it round for now. You want to get the central with the lines that I had, which are there. And fold that over. This up. And the first piece we'll do is the bottom. I need to get on case. Okay, well, we've got the two ends to do. It's not too difficult. Actually, it's not too easy either. Well, I've got the windows open. A bit smelly in here. And when you go round these, because these are very difficult, you do get the odd little bit that isn't covered with vinyl because it's spread out. There's no way around that easily. But to be honest, I don't think it really matters. When you put a bit of black on it later, you'll never even notice any of that. And you can see it's beginning to look pretty cool, I think. Don't you? What do you think? Yeah, it's going to be a lot cooler by the time it's finished. Anyway, I'm going to carry on around and do these ends now before it all dries off, and I'll be back. Well, I'm back. It's never going to be perfect. Don't worry about that. You'll never see one of these in purple, will you? When I get all the glue off the inside, making these little bits white, I'll just touch them up with a black pen and you'll never notice. I've done it before. Now we've got the sides to do. Now these corners are very difficult, and I'm like you, I'm not perfect. So don't criticise me. But at least I'm having a go, aren't I? So what we need to do now is to make a square around the top here. And then we fold it underneath and we cut with a straight edge along these three sides and fold the rest underneath. Not too easy, but not too hard. You've just got to remember that you've got to cut all the way through, so you need a good knife so that it all matches up very nicely. And if you don't do that, you're going to end up in trouble. So with a bit of luck, you can see that I've sort of marked around one. I've got this flap that folds inside, which is important. And if I take that off, I come across the top like that. Now, there's probably just enough for two down here, so I'm just going to run that down further, and I can use this as the other side. How simple is that? So I'm going to cut them out now, and I'll be back. So now we've got our two little pieces, one for each end. And I'm going to go and get a steel straight edge. We're going to glue that on and then cut very carefully. I'll show you how to do one side and then we're in business. Okay, well this is not really going to be too easy for me to show you because I've had to sort of come down to the floor because the camera doesn't go high enough. Oh. So what you do basically is you glue that on there, just flat, and just leave this dangling round underneath, okay? And then what we do is we take a steel straight edge, which you must get straight here, by the way. Very important you get it just the right distance in. And then you just go some. Yeah. Then you go this way. Some. Deep, by the way. And then you go this way. Some. And you'll be left with vinyl from underneath and vinyl from the top that should be fitting dead close together. That's the trick. Hard to show you down here. I'm going to have to go back up and do it. Yeah, what more can I say? Okay, well here's a quick shot of the covered unit. Not bad. Not bad. Not perfect, not perfect by any means, because when you do this you end up with these little slits at the sides. By design, I think it's just, you're never going to solve that. So what you do is you get a bit of black pen and just black pen it out, and you won't even see it. Just trust me on this. Same across the top here. There's a few little tiny things, which were in the original, by the way, because they can't do it either. However, I'm not so good on some of the corners, and yeah, some of them have had to be touched up a bit. This one here, it's still got the glue on it, so you can't really do much with it for now. But this glue, this excess glue, will come off later, and you'll hardly even notice it was there. You can see on the sides how it works. I mean, it's not absolutely perfect, because I'm not perfect and neither are you. However, I bet it's the only purple one you've ever seen. And when I get the logo on presently, it's going to look pretty good. Oh, I think it is. Well, next we've got to screw on the handle, and we've got to screw on the feet. So I'm going to go and do that now. You've seen me screw before. No, you haven't. Okay. So there's the handle on there. So I'm now going to fit the feet. Oh, I'm back. Fancy that. What, you never thought I'd do it? Well, I did. So there. And here she is. The purple Bogner Brixton amp. Yeah, it's not perfect. There's a few little bits on the corners, but you'll have the same trouble, especially with an amp like this. But I filled in the sort of little white bits that were left, and you probably can't even tell from there. Looks pretty good, I think. Around the back's not bad either. You can get at everything. Now I could sit there stapling those bits back in place, which I might just do off camera, or I might not. But yeah, it's all going to be good. Well, what's next? It's back. But I'm back too. And I'm back too with one of these things. A tube. Or a valve, as they say in England. Yeah. So what's Tony messing up? What's going on? There's nothing wrong with the valves that are in it, are there? Well, actually, there is nothing wrong with the valves that are in it. Or the tubes that are in it. But this amp is different than the other one I've got. Well, it's not different, but it will be by the time we finish. We're halfway there now. This one is 240 volts, so I've converted this one. I've converted the other one. That's the purple one. And the purple one's going to get one of these tubes. Oh, what's that about? Why are you fitting a JJ tube when you don't like them? Well, actually, I am fitting the JJ tube, and I'm going to take it out. The other JJ tube, that is, out of here. Let's take a quick look. Oh, it's a bit tight. Yeah, this is a JJ ECC 83S. That's what's in it. And that one's a 12AX7 Softtech. But what's this one? Did I just get another ECC 83? No, of course I didn't. What I got was a 5751. Yeah, what's that about? It's not a 5750. It's a 5751. So let's fit it in, and then we'll have a quick chat about it, just to keep you up to speed. It's all pretty simple. You just plug the thing in, and there it is. In there. I'll put that lid back on. And now nobody's the wiser except me and you. Well, what's that about? Well, as some of you might know, this amp is it's a very driven amp, highly driven amp, extremely high. And what you might want to do is to, well, play a bit more relaxed, you know, blues or something like that. Now you can turn it up and down here, but it's not quite the same as having an amp that hasn't quite as much drive, if you know what I mean. And all you blues guys will know exactly what I mean. So by fitting a 5751 in this V1 socket, this amp now won't be a mega god. It'll be a blues breaker, and I don't mean literally, but it'll be great for blues. I did it purple. I could have done it blue. Now you mention it. Oh, you didn't mention it. Oh, okay. Well, there it is. That's the mod. A very simple mod, and I haven't seen many people, or I haven't been looking for them actually. I haven't seen many people actually do that and compare an amp before and after. And what's great about this one is this amp and the other one are identical except for that tube and that veneer. And that veneer, I'm being nuts, that Tolex on there. So it seems like a plan to me. It seems a good idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit that back in there. I might do a few staples on the quiet without showing you. And yeah, we'll go from there. So that'll be in the next video. It's not in this one. This video was all about how you recover one of these. And by the way, if you do screw these corners up, you can get little corner pieces that you can just screw on there. So nobody will ever know. I might do it myself. Actually, these are not too bad. They're not too bad. I've seen them worse, but not from professional guys. Yeah. But I'm not a professional. I'm like you. And that's the main thing about all these reviews and these different things I do. I'm just like you. Just identical. Well, no, I'm better. So, there it is. Complete. Yeah. Right down to the last screw. Looks pretty cool, huh? Nicer than the black one, I think. Well, you decide. So who likes what in this place? Do you want the purple, as in haze? Or do you want the black, as in gold? Maybe not, I don't know. There are the two. This one's had the 5751 fitted, so you'll see that in the next video. This one hasn't. That one is basically factory except for the 240 volt mod, and I had that one from new. Yeah, this one was second hand. So strangely, when you start looking really close at this, you can see how they've pulled that round there. I've got a few little cracks in mine, but it's not bad. It's intended to look different and be different, so that was part of the idea of going through this for the next video. So I hope you've all enjoyed this one, covering like that. So it's not easy, especially when these corners are as they are, you know, there's no fitting to go on there. They're real difficult to do. I wouldn't say to you that they weren't, but some amps, still a good guide for other amps. Some amps are much easier to do than this one. This is a particularly difficult one, as I said, with the little cutouts around there. Quite difficult. So don't forget to go to www.tennymckenzie.com, where I might even put this one on, or I might not. Who knows? Depends how time goes. I don't have a lot of spare time. But the next video is going to be how they sound, and that'll be a very interesting video, I think. They'll be compared just like that, one above the other in the studio, you know. So, until next time, go and do yours and get out of here.